Hello everybody and welcome to the MATOcolori Spa 24 hours. This has been a long time coming and I'm so happy that this broadcast has started now as we get together for the qualifying session to see who will become the pole sitter of the 24 hours of Spa. Obviously everybody type in the chat who you think is going to get pole. I will give you a list of the starting drivers as we see now as the GT3 qualifying has started. Everybody is making their way to the exit of the pit lane. Just going to turn the game volume down a little bit. So yeah, as now we see everybody heading towards Eau Rouge on their outlaps, and I believe I do want to see who that is in first, as we are riding trackside on the helicopter cam with the LARP car. It's so a lot of you are saying Alan Terzic is going to get pole, so we're going to ride on board with him for his first lap. And yeah, we're just going to see how this ends up. To be honest, it is a very it's a very competitive field, I do have to say. So thank you to all of the teams who have signed up and are making this possible. I am just going to alter the overlay quickly, just so you guys can see more people on track at the moment, because it is currently just the 13. Okay, I'm gonna have to change that to a little bit lower. But yeah, I'm very excited for this race, and I hope you all are too. Obviously, I will be checking the YouTube chat often, so make sure type any questions you may have. I'm sure people in there, as we see a car going off there, not quite sure who that was. Do need to get a track map up, to be honest. Just gonna sort that out now, so I can see where everybody is. So yeah, as we ride on board now with Alan Terzic as he starts his first flying lap in the number 44 LARP car. Let me just get the correct camera. That will do for now. So currently we have Stefano Cavacciuti. I'm gonna butcher so many names today, so I hope nobody's too offended by that. With the purple sector 1, so as Germano Zappala takes that from him with a 39.3 sector 1. Alan Terzic currently with a 39.5. Adam Taylor in the Monaco car currently sets the purple sector 2, so it is very close right now in the qualifying. Does seem like Alan Terzic is currently around 6 tenths faster than anybody else in the middle sector, as Andrea Riccelli beats that. And Alan Terzic goes purple in sector 2. Does show him as purple sector 1, but that was only because he doesn't quite. As Adam Taylor sets the first lap with a 13.332 as the banker for everybody. So we do start to see the lap times rolling in. Not quite sure why they're not updating on the overlay. And it's currently only the pole time that's on there, which is not good. As Alan Terzic takes a provisional pole position after the first run with a 12.8, as I just refreshed the overlay to try and see why they're... Okay, yeah, I can change that to the team names. Not quite sure why that isn't. Why is it only showing the first lap time? Okay. Right on board now with... Does look like a very busy track at the moment. It is going to be about who can do that. I'm not sure why it's only showing the current P1 lap time. Currently figuring out why. Okay, so can't seem to be able to get this fixed. I'm not sure. If you do know a fix in the chat, then please let me know, because just restarted the game and checked all of the code in the config, and everything all seems to be working fine. I see Thomas Len saying that this is a known issue. So yeah, if there is a known fix, then please let me know and I'll get it sorted for you. Obviously as quickly as possible. But I will try and keep you updated with everything that's going on. So Alan Terzic currently leads the qualifying by 0.2 of a second back to Christian Malguera. We then have a further 0.2 back to Andrea Riccelli. And then it's very close on the next two positions with Sasha Glatter and Adam Taylor in the number 19 and the 81 Blackhawk. Not sure why. That is the number 19 1 Akko entry. Not sure why that's not showing there on the overlay. All covered by 0.5 for those three positions. And then we have Max Buenvich, followed by Leon Bock, and then after that it's very close. It is then massively close from P16 from P8, all covered by just 0.2 over 8 positions. So this could be very interesting. Currently the LARP car and then the two Waveframes actually in P2 and 3. Let's have a look now. Sasha Glatter sets a purple sector 1 with a 39.5. 39. As Lucas Lichten sets a purple sector 2 with a 58.4. Which has now been B. No, it hasn't. As Lucas Lichten moves up to P22 in the Sim Apex number 67 entry. Sasha Glatter now has purple sector 1 and sector 2, however I'm not sure that's correct, but I guess we'll see in the number 81 Blackhawk entry. So it shows 2 green sectors now for Sasha Glatter. They cross the line with a 13.3, which keeps them, which is a 10th off of their personal best, even with 2 purple sectors. Right, okay. I think the overlay is just a little bit bugged right now with that, which is no issue. Right on board with Ernest Lappins. It's just 0.5 off of the best time in sector 1 and green on his best side. Enters Pujon behind the Corvette. He's going to get a little bit of dirty air, but it could also provide a tow for him. As we have a yellow in sector 1. I'm sure that's just a car letting someone past. Ernest Lappins once again green in sector 2, but 0.5 second down on the best time. This could move Ernest up into the top 10, but he's going to need a good final sector. He comes through a Blanchimont now into the bus stop chicane. This is all about just how late can you get on the brakes and how much of a run you can get out of the final corner. Seems to get on the throttle quite early, no oversteer as he now runs towards the line, and he's going to set a 13.6, so it moves him up to P7. So just a 0.2 improvement, and he's moved from 13th to 7th. This is an insanely close qualifying now. Just 0.007 of a second faster than the 22 Asombit car. Right on board of Leon Bock once again. 2 green sectors. So could he be doing something similar to Ernest Lappins and moving from just outside the top 10 to well inside? The 53 Evolution BMW comes through the bus stop, gets a good exit, clean on the power early. He now crosses the line with a 13.4, which puts him up to P6. Seems like Alan Terzic shows him purple on my overlay, but that's not the correct. It shows him 13 thousandths down, so he is looking to increase his lead at the front of the field. As he just taps the wall there on the exit of No Name. I'm not sure how much of an issue that's going to cause him. Could have some minor suspension damage. As we see Mark Veit make the jump up from 22nd to P12. And it's now just 1,000th behind Ibrahim Khan, who is then just 2,000ths behind Michael Wozniak. So that's 3,000ths of a second covering 3 cars there for P10, 11 and 12. Alan Terzic sets a purple middle sector. He's half a tenth up on his best time. Could we see him reach the 12.7s? This was your guy's man for pole position, so I do have high hopes for him. As he now brakes very late for the bus stop chicane. Gets it slowed down, hits the first apex. Hits the second on the power very early there with no wheel spin. Does run a little bit wide. He may pick up a cut track as he crossed the line for a 12.8. That was a slow final sector for Alan. As we see a purple sector 1 for the 22 Asombic, but it looks like he's getting held up in the middle sector there by the McLaren. Like I said, this is a very busy track at the moment, so we see the Waveframe Esports car getting out of the way at the back. Yeah, and look, he's 2 seconds down in the middle sector. Just one car that's also on a flying lap can just ruin your lap like that. Once again, he's just behind him going through Blanchimont. That there is the P24 car of Lucas Litchen in the 67 Sim Apex team. I believe he's starting a lap now, so Lucas wasn't on a flying lap there, which could lead to him getting a penalty for blocking the number 22 Asombic car. We'll see there are in-race reports, which will give live penalties. As we just look down the Camel Straight now, there's 6 cars all on there trying to fight for position to get a clean lap in. As we see Adam Taylor move up to P2 with a, what time is that? That's a 12.999, just 1.7 tenths of a second behind the number 44 at LARP Sim Racing. I can definitely see these two having a momentous battle throughout the race, both with very strong lineups. So yeah, I do want to hear your guys' predictions for the race win. Obviously, it's 24 hours, so anything can happen, but if I was going to say it'd be either of one of them two. The Waveframe cars do look very fast. Obviously, this is qualifying, and that doesn't really matter, but having 2 cars at the front can really help, just with strategy, really. So one car can hold another up, like what we've seen in Formula 1, by using a second driver, possibly. So all these different tactics that teams can play to just get the slightest of edge over the competition. See, Christian Pascal, I did expect to be a little bit higher up the grid, however, currently green in both Sector 1 and 2, with a 13.858. once again, I do just want to apologise for the issues that we're having at the moment with the overlay. As we see Alice Pleaver in the number 13 core car move up to P7, dropping the Alpestino Force Polonia car, the number 999, down to P9 with Ernest Lappins at the wheel. Everybody does seem to be in the pits apart from Paulia Honan in the Corvette TCS off entry, the number 42. I do believe this is possibly the only Corvette on the grid, I believe. Could be wrong though. I do know the grid is just full of BMWs and McLarens, which we expected, being the current BOP of the cars. We just follow him now through the middle sector chicane as they head towards the Stabilos. Paulia Honan 2 tenths down on the current best sector 1, but green on his best. As he comes towards the sector 2 split now, he's green again, but 8 tenths down on the fastest lap. I can't see him getting into the top 10 with this unless he has a mighty final sector, sorry. Okay, so the 2 Speedy Mites are also Corvettes. Okay. There's Paulia Honan now come through the bus stop chicane. And sets a 1:14.0, which is not faster than his current best, so that leaves him P18. I'm sure he was expecting better. As we see Michael Wozniak, is he on a flying lap? Yes, so he was down in the first sector but up on the middle sector. Let's see, can he creep into the top 10? So currently sat just half a tenth behind the number 22 Asombic car, currently sat in the P10 spot. Just 1/10 here could push him up to P7 or 8, so it is very interesting at the moment in qualifying. Everybody is so close. As he comes across the line now to set a 13.698, so he's 5,000th slower than his best time. We see now Sasha Glatter once again with a purple sector 1 in this 81 Blackhawk car. That car is really set up for the straight line speed, it seems. I do believe this could be a very good race car, maybe not in qualifying. Because of the need for downforce in the middle sector. So you run on board now, and it's very close to that wall there. We come now towards Pouon. Bravery and downforce is needed in this high-speed corner as we see the Pescara Ednis car of, I believe that's Stefano Cavacchiuti moving off into P6. Oh, I've butchered that last name. I'm so sorry to everybody. When I get the name wrong, obviously do help me with the pronunciations in the chat as the race goes on. I'm sure there's going to be plenty more names that I can't pronounce. As we come now towards the sector 2 split, what is this for Sasha Glatter? It's a green sector, so once again they are still up. Just 2 tenths off of the current best time in the session. So we could see them moving up closer towards Adam Taylor and the number 15 Waveframe car. In fact, both the Waveframe cars. Currently this top 4, which could now be 5, is currently covered by 2 tenths of a second, sorry. But the midfield looks very close. So Sasha crosses the line now with a 13.099, which just closes the gap up to P4. Doesn't quite get there, it gets within a tenth of P4, and the 2 Waveframe cars are covered by 3,000ths of a second. In fact, P2, 3 and 4 are covered by 13,000ths of a second at the moment. And let's have a look towards further back of the grid. We've got Andy Dixie and the number 4 Speedy Mite. Currently sat P30. Obviously, we have currently 35 entries starting the race, but this being single class, it's going to be 35 entries all going at it. all for the winning position. Obviously the top 3 of this race winning prize money, which I'm sure is what they're all here for, as well as to be in the first special event that the Virtual SimRacing Association has hosted. And yes, Wavestream do have 2 cars in the race. They have P3 and P4, the number 15 and the number 66, as we see Andy Dixie move up to P29. And Luca Sarassi has actually set the purple sector 1 in the number 12 Blue Bolt. I do believe as he just runs too wide there in the corner after the camel chicane, and that's going to be lap over for him, as Damien Degrassi currently on another lap. Green in sector 1 and 2, looking to move up from the lower reaches of the grid. Does seem to brake very early and take it very cautious. Does look like he's setting himself up for another lap with that sort of line, getting the best run out of the grid, out of the final chicane. Yes, and that's 4 seconds off in the final sector, so it does seem like he is getting ready to start a new lap. I do have to say there are some brilliant liveries on this grid. My personal favourite at the moment has got to be this number 19 Monaco car. And obviously there's just so many more that are just absolutely stunning on this grid. One of them that I also do very like is the number 18 and the number 118 Samfree car. Have to say they are incredible looking machines. Currently sat P32 and 34, so the livery isn't helping them in the position wise, but I do have to say they do look very nice indeed. Now, who else is on a lap? We have Michael Wozniak currently on a lap. Green in sector 1, but just 3/100ths of a second down on the current best time. But coming into this final sector, it is very busy on track and just half a second off. Another green sector. Could we see Michael Wozniak fly up into the top 10? Because as we've shown, just a 1/10th improvement could move him up to P11 or 12 at the moment in time. It is very close. Every millisecond counts in this qualifying session, as we are almost halfway through it. And the LARP Sim Racing team have sort of held station at the top there, just slightly increasing their gap whenever Adam Taylor and the number 19 Monaco car gets close. As we see Michael Wozniak in this brilliant helicopter's cam comes towards the line and sets a personal best of a 13.595, moves him up 1 position ahead of Michael Wilson in the 404 Turbo LARP car, I believe. Yep. He's currently actually on a green first sector as well, so we could see Michael Wozniak move his way. Oh no, he's 4/10ths down in the second sector, but once again we could see him as Jaroslav Honzik moves himself up to P13. Right on board with Michael Wilson now as he comes through Blanchimont flat out in these cars, staying within the track limits, so no off track can be applied, and so that they can keep their lap as he comes through the bus stop, getting on the power. Oh, just a bit of understeer on the exit there. They're not going to give him the best run to the line, but he doesn't quite improve there. I'm not quite sure what lap time that was. It does seem like he quit the lap before he even finished. As we see a lot of cars at the front now just taking their time and making sure they are ready for the final half an hour. See Juan Carlos Fernandez moving himself up to P9 with another improvement on his lap. As we see Alex Cochrane in the 888 car, the number 888. Not improving on his time in P33. However, we do now have all 37 entries in the server ready and waiting, as we have the number 41 TCS off Corvette, the second 4 Corvettes I believe that are on the grid, alongside the what's it called, the Speedemite cars, sorry. So Christian Pascal sets a purple sector 1 actually in the BMW, the AZ Racing car. Everybody else just seems to be spending their time in the pits just getting ready for the final half an hour of the session. But it does seem like a lot of teams have gone for a more race-based setup, because we are seeing very high speeds through the first sector and on the camel straight, and then as Christian Pascal decides to leave his lap and parks up and heads back to the pit lane so he can go out again, as we see the number 19 Adam Taylor car just leave the grid there, trying to take the pole position spot, just 1.5 tenths behind Alan Terzic in the number 44 LARP sim racing car. As we ride on board now with the number 4 Waveframe, a purple sector 1, a green sector 2. Could we see this car jump up to P2? There's just 13 thousandths between P4 and P2. Gets a small toe now to the line as they cross the line with 13.3, so they lost 3 tenths in the final sector. I don't know whether it was because of that BMW in the final chicane, but it is so close at the front that any sort of time can move them up 2 or 3 positions. As we see Roy de Munich now start his lap in the number 7 1 move, in the only Porsche on the track. I can confirm that. He sees a McLaren come out, doesn't decide to go for the toe, and I believe that was the number 118 Sam3 car, does decide to move out the way, as we also see, I believe, is that I'm pretty sure I just saw a Waveframe head out on track. They are on their outlap Christian Malguera, who has just decided to leave a lap, as we have Stefano Cavacchiuti purple in sector 1 by 1,000th of a second. Everybody is so close through the sector 1 in this Pescara Adonis ATP car. I have to say, this is another one of the many brilliant liveries. I do have to give a round of applause to all of the designers that have created the cars. However, not a personal best sector 2. 3 tenths off of what the best sector and the best time from Alan Terzic is during that. Now come towards the bus stop. It does run a little bit wide in that first apex, but does cut that second one, hits the sausage curb on the inside and decides to abandon the lap. That's what it is. It's just them small errors, just braking a tiny too late and just running a tad wide. And yes, Mr. Coffelino, there are no gaps at the moment. That is due to the overlay error. There's a known error with the new overlay that RF2 have provided us, and I apologise for that. It should be fine for the race. However, if it isn't, then I'll do all that I can to make sure it is, as we have Sasha Glatter once again a 10th up in the first sector. This number 81 Blackhawk could be very dangerous at the start of the race when they're all bunched up and in the slipstream. Let's ride on board now through the middle sector, where I do expect the car to struggle a little bit compared to the others. Seem to take a perfect line, runs right up to the wall, uses as much track as possible, and I believe that is a BMW there going slowly, just letting the faster cars by. Let's get a small slide there through P1. We're right on board now in the proper cockpit cam. Come up towards, and yes, there's the Aston Martin just pulling off to the side. Comes through the first Stavolo, does get a little bit of oversteer there, but runs as wide as they can. Just 4 tenths down now on the best time, and that's not an improvement. It's not what they need, the number 81 Blackhawk. It does show that they are really struggling in the middle sector, but let's see how much time they can make up again in the second sector. It does run, that may be a cut track from them. I guess by the fact that they are continuing on that it isn't. Really revving out the engine now, using all of the engine braking as they head towards the bus stop, taking both apex perfectly. Little bit of oversteer on the outside, and yes, they do decide to abandon the lap, as we now have the number 666 Waveframe car, currently sat in P4, sets a purple sector 1 by 0.5 tenth of a second. So we're right on board now through the chicane, missing the first apex, cutting as much as possible the second, using up all of the track as we come towards the sector 2 split. What can we expect? That looks... Is that the other Waveframe car looking to give a tow down towards Blanchimont? This is the sort of team tactics I was expecting from the two Waveframes being at the front. There's a look here, yeah, they are giving the tow to one another. So the BMW will now back off and let the McLaren go as the BMW is on an outlap. Let's see what Christian Malguera can do now. Through the final chicane. Brakes perfectly. Kisses the apex. Kisses the second apex. Nice and on the throttle early. Uses up all the track. Where does this put the number 666 Waveframe car as they head up to P2? Less than a tenth now behind Alan Terzic in the LARP sim racing car. As we watch now as their counterpart in the number 15 Waveframe decided not to give that car a tow, which is interesting. I guess they are maining their McLaren and making sure that's as high up as possible, but that tow really just shows what two cars at the front can do. You may see that in the race with the number 666 getting ahead of the LARP and backing it off into the rest of the pack, possibly, if they look like they can break away. Let's watch now as Andrea Riccelli comes towards the Sector 1 split, 2 tenths down on the best time, so not the best run. However, this car could be set up more for the downforce in the BMW compared to the McLaren. So let's have a look now, coming towards the middle sector. This sector is all about the downforce and all about the high-speed corners. There is very little low-speed corners on this track except for turn 1. Oh, and that's a clout of the barrier for the number 15 Waveframe. That's got to be suspension damage, and there is no point in continuing that if there is. Right on board. I do believe the steering is straight, otherwise they would have just come back to the pits. It does look straight. Move it back so we can see. There's a very weird steering wheel on the BMW GT3. Just sending the car in. This car really does seem set up for downforce. And yes, a green sector 2. So what can we see then from this car? Could we see it overtake the number 19 Monaco car, who has set a orange first sector, currently on the lap? So we will move to them once we see the end of this number 15 Waveframe car. As we come towards the bus stop, braking as late as possible, just before the 100-meter board, using all of the engine revs to slow the car down, kissing both apex perfectly on the power early, a little bit of oversteer. Come towards the line, and that's a 13.3, so it doesn't improve. Let's have a look at Adam Taylor then. Half a tenth down in the first sector. However, once again, just chucking that car in. Another tenth down in the second sector. Not quite green, but it does seem like they are still in with a chance of getting P2. It does depend on how this third sector is, and we did see that the number 666 got a very good tow coming into the bus stop by its teammate. Obviously the Monaco car only has itself, no teammate to help tow. Brakes now for the bus stop. Does seem to brake a little bit later. Kisses the first apex, kisses the second on the throttle early as possible. Brilliant run through there from Adam Taylor. Come towards the line now with a 13.005, and that just moves them closer with a purple final sector, but not quite there. Let's have a look then with Leon Bock, green in the first sector. Oh, just catches that slide through the camel chicane. Let's have a look then at the 53 Evolution car. Now through the middle sector. That car does seem to be a bit slidey there. There's a BMW behind also pushing, as the Black Hawk car is that. Moving up into P3, Sasha Glatter has made its way up to P3, overtaking the Monaco and the other Waveframe car, and joining that battle for P2 between, well, everyone really. I mean, there's not really a point on the track where there's a massive gap. There's less than a tenth between most positions. The whole top 25 covered by 1.3 seconds, and the top 20 covered by 1 second. This is an insanely close qualifying. Let's have a look at Leon Bock then. Decides to abandon the lap just as I switch to him. As they start again, but that's a purple sector 1 from Stefano Cavacchiuti. I need to learn how to pronounce that name. 2 temps up in sector 1. This BMW is really fast in the straight line in the Pescara Adonis ATP car. Let's have a look then as we are on board with the helicopter cam. Little dolphin on the back there. I'm sure teams will want to get a closer look at that throughout the race and get as close as possible to this car. However, I don't believe they will be able to on the straight because it does seem like an absolute rocket ship on the straight. Come through the chicane. Doesn't use as much curb as what I've seen other cars do through there. With just 20 minutes to go, we're in the final third of qualifying, and this is when it really gets tasty. As teams really ramp up the gears and get ready. But he is 2 temps down in the middle sector. That's a shocker from Stefano Cavacchiuti, sorry. And is he going to just break into that top 5 and get closer to that gap? We're currently just a 1/10 of a second, covering from P2 to P5. As we see the number 15 wayframe go green in sector 1. I'll move over to that once we see the end of this lap from the Pescara Adonis car. Doesn't seem to get on the throttle as early as they wanted, but sets a 13.005, which moves them just closer, just 0.006 of a second behind Adam Taylor, and joins the top 5. And then there's the top 6 now. And then there's a 3.5 temp gap back to Ibrahim Khan in the number 46 Seawolf car. And let's ride on board then with a purple sector 1 again from Andrea Riccelli in the 15 wayframe. Let's have a look from the nose. There is the teammate. There is the number 666 wayframe car looking to give it a tow. Running into Blanchimont. So running into Blanchimont now. This is going to be a brilliant tow because the number 666 is getting pulled along itself. So the number 15 is going to have 2 hits of the tow. If I'm sure the 666 possibly get... Oh no, they're going to stay around it for Blanchimont. Maybe the Dirty M might just pull him off. 666 going to move to one side, but he's still got the toe of the car in front who also pulls off. So this is a clean track now. For the number 15, can he get it stopped in time? Yes, he can. Hits the first 8, but decides to back out of it. Ah, okay, that's very interesting. With that sort of toe, I expected them to come across the line and finish the lap, but obviously not. Let's have a look to see whether there's any more times on the car. We see the number 30, position 30 car, which was P34. So jumped up just half a second there to move up 4 positions. But yeah, at the front, it does seem like everybody's just sort of taking their break now. Getting ready for the final 15 minutes of qualifying. They're only going to have enough time for roughly 3 to 4 runs now. But one car that I was expecting to be a tad bit higher was the number 53 Evolution with Leon Bock at the wheel. Obviously, the Evolution team currently fighting with the Adonis team, who are also in this grid for the Super League Championship in the GPVWC series. So that's going to be a very tasty battle to look for as we move on throughout the race. They did have a very controversial battle during the race. The Adonis team, as we see Alan Terzic in the LARP sim racing car finally venture out on track again. Purple in sector 1. Has he got anything more up his sleeve to push and make the gap at the front bigger? Riding on the massive nose of this BMW, just grazes the wall, using up all the track possible. But this BMW really is a huge car compared to the rest of the GT3s. When you're in a McLaren on board and you just see the size and the height of the BMW ahead of you, it is a bit intimidating. It does use up more of the curb as what we've seen from other cars. Just seems to just glide over the curbs. He does run a bit wide, touches the gravel, that may lose his time. Comes through the Stavalos now. Yes, a 1/10.5 down in sector 2, but maybe I did think that Corvette could have possibly given them a tow in the Speedy Mike car. Who, once again, I did also expect them to be a little bit higher up. Whereabouts are they in the grid? I can't see them anywhere, really. Let's have a look. Interesting. Okay. I did expect them to be a little bit higher. We currently have a car in P29. As we head to the final chicane now from Alan Terzic. Comes us towards the line. Can they improve on their time? No, not quite. Let's have a look at the front again then. No one seems to be improving. Except for Leon Bock. Green in Sector 1 and Sector 2. Coming towards the final chicane. Can this move them up to the top 5 or the top 6 possibly? Such a close battle up there as they come across the line with 13.4, which I believe just keeps them where they are. Does just show how close everybody is on this grid. Just half a second covering the top 10 and a second now covering the top 20 cars, so this is going to be an insane race that I'm looking forward to. As we see Alice Pleva in the number 13 core car. Green in Sector 1. As we've seen plenty of time, but Sector 2 is where all the time is gained. Does seem like he just run wide in that chicane there. Doesn't cut as much of the team. Run wide again. Just dips a rear wheel as he four-wheel drifting around that corner there. That was insane. Brilliant car control from Alice Pleva, but it's not the fastest way to get around the track, and he's 8 tenths down in the middle sector. Let's have a look then as the number 96 Just Racing team currently sat P37 and last at the moment, 4 seconds off the pace. Green in Sector 1 and 2, so we could see a major improvement. I believe that 1.7 seconds is off of the best time. So I believe they might be up by about a second or two, which could push them up a few positions, possibly reaching the top 30. Yep, just kisses the first and the second apex on the powers early, but doesn't seem to just get a lot of oversteer in that car. Comes across the line with a 16.1. So that's an 8/10 improvement. Pushes them up to P36 and just joins the rest of the pack, really. Because we've got 1.5 seconds covering the top 28, and with that comes another brilliant livery from the Blue Steel guys. I do have to admit, this shot from the helicopter really does just show off their brilliant livery. Let's have a look at the front then. It's number 66. No, the 666, sorry. Once again, purple through Sector 1 as we get to second sector split. And there is that familiar Wayframe BMW just giving them a tow, but it's not as good of a tow this time. It's not going to last as long, and they were down in the middle sector. I'm not sure this is going to be an improvement from Christian Malguer. Oh! And he had to back out of it. His teammate blocked him on the track as he pulls over on the grass to, I'm sure, go back to the pit. Just as the BMW has done that by the side of the track, and that is not what they wanted to see, I'm sure. I'm sure the Wayframe manager had his heart in his mouth there, as they almost just collided with each other. As the number 4 Speedy Mike car currently sat P30 in the Corvette. As they come towards the final chicane, braking early. Just missing, slightly getting that apex. Missing the second apex though. However, it could allow them to get on the throttle a little bit earlier. Will it be an improvement? No, that's a 15.4, so that's a 3/10 slower. And as we see Sasha Glatter there, just 2 thousandths down in the first sector. Could we see another brilliant lap here from the 81 Blackhawk? I still cannot believe how close it is at the front of the grid. Obviously, you guys can't see it on stream, but I'm sure if you have a look in the YouTube description, you can see the live timing, and you can see what I'm seeing, and that is a very close grid. As just pointed out by a car list for P9 to P29 to P31 within 3 thousandths of a second, so it is close everywhere on the grid. And it is brilliant to see, to be honest, the competitive nature of everybody just pushing as hard as they can, because they know that 1/10 could make up 5 to 6 positions, which is just insane, really. There's no other sport like motorsport where you can give everybody the same car and they would be so close. And that is an improvement in the middle sector from Sasha Glatter, just 0.03 of a second off of Alan Terzic's time. Can he string together a brilliant final sector? We know this McLaren's fast in a straight line. We know, just because of the purple sector ones, which is just pure straight line speeds, we see here hitting 264 kilometers an hour before breaking into the bus stop. May have gotten a small tow from the Speedy Mite Corvette. Brilliant run there through the bus stop on the power early. Can they improve on their time? It's a 13.0. That's not quite an improvement that they need. That is a little bit disappointing, but the number 936, the Pescara Adonis car, purple in Sector 1 by 0.2 of a second. We have seen this car is another one of those insane. It's brilliant to see how the different setup choices of the team, it's really making a difference in qualifying just by the sector times. I mean, Alan Terzic is 0.2 slower in the first sector to this car, but I'm sure it'll be a few tenths faster in the middle sector, and that is where they're gaining all their time in the LARP sim racing, which could harm them in the race. It could mean their car is a little bit more hungry on the tyres because of the extra downforce and the extra load they're putting it through the corners, and it also makes them, well, it could make them a sitting duck on the straight if there are teams faster. But yeah, as we can see here, the sector times, that is they are 4 to 5 tenths slower in the middle sector, this Pescara team. But as we've seen, any sort of improvement is going to gain them positions at the moment. They are just 6 thousandths off of the P4 car of the Wanaco number 19. As yes, they do decide to abandon the lap it, but Ibrahim Khan is green in Sector 1, half a tenth down off of Alan Terzic through there. So this Seawolf team may have gone for a more downforce setup. Coming through the final few corners, down on his best again through there, but they have closed the gap. I have just noticed that Ibrahim Khan has got closer to Andrea Riccelli and could be joining the top 6 to make it a top 7 fight for the lead, as Riley McKibbing in the 808 MRTI, another Corvette, green in Sector 1 and Sector 2. They are 6 tenths down in Sector 1, so that Corvette is really lacking in straight line speed. Let's see what they can do then through the bus stop, braking as late as possible, the flames spitting out of the exhaust. That's what we like to see from these cars, kissing both apexes on the power early. We can hear that Corvette engine just roar. There's a 15.014, pushes them up a few positions up to P29. I'm sure the MRTI car will want to be higher than that, but Pauli Ahonen in another Corvette, the TCS off. This Corvette's a little bit faster in the first sector, just half a tenth off, but I've just seen something that is insane. The number 12 Blue Bolt car, purple in the first sector by 3.5 tenths over Alan Terzic's best time. Maybe the Blue Bolt car has something up their sleeve that they didn't want to show until the later stages of qualifying. Doesn't quite use up all the track and a bit late to get on the throttle. You can just hear the car wanting to go, but doesn't just have the grip. You can tell this is a low downforce setup. Brilliant line there for Pujon, carrying as much speed as possible. As we brake now, coming in, not taking as much curb as we've seen other teams. Just glancing over the white line. Doesn't quite dip into the gravel like we've seen others do. Come through the Stavelos. Let's have a look at these. A second down. This is not what we want to see with a 14.9. A second down and is not a personal best sector. However, this could still be an improvement. Once again, just 1/10 could gain them a position, so anything is possible. But I've just seen Sasha Glatter set a green Sector 1. Once again, that McLaren is flying down the Camel Straight as we see the number 12 Blue Bolt BMW brake for the bus stop. Exit the bus stop, not quite on the power as early as others, but crossing the line for a 13.6 and moves them up to P19. So a 2/10 improvement, a 2.5 improvement, and they've gained 3 positions. Sasha Glatter, I believe, has just decided to abandon the lap. As we see the LARP car spin at the top of Eau Rouge, and that's a huge crash for Alan Terzic on his outlap. losing the rear wing of the BMW. Let's have a look now. Is anybody else improving their time? We've got Kevin Siklari down in P27 in the number 3 Speedy Mike. Just half a tenth off in the first sector. Flame spitting out the side. Oh, and that's a four-wheel slide through there. I thought he was going to spin that car there. As yet, they decide to abandon the lap. There is enough time for them to get out there and set another one. I believe everybody is sort of on the verge of whether to go out and try and get the clean air now, or whether to wait until the dying embers of the session when the track could be the most grippy. As we see an improvement from the Just Racing team in P36. Half a temp down, but they've got the BMW Waveframe car. I don't believe is on a lap. Of Andrea Riccelli. No. Yeah. Yeah, Andrea Riccelli in P6. Let's have a look. Down in Sector 2 again on their best, but they're still a second up on their previous best time on this current lap. There's a break for the bus stop, and it's just too deep there from Andre Verdani as they decide to back out of the lap. There is still time for them to get out and do another one, but Mika Hakimi in the number 10 Blue Steel car is improving again. 8 tenths down on the best time, and that would give him a 7/10 improvement overall. And let's ride on board now as you go through Blanchimont. Should be an easy flat in this car. Does sound like a small blend of the throttle, but that could just be down to setup and running a little bit low downforce. Braking, hitting the first apex of Sector 1. Missing the second apex and runs wide out of the final corner. Surely that can't be an improvement. And no, I don't believe it is. The lap, that counts as a cut track, so they have decided to abandon that lap. Let's have a look then. Let's wait and see who else is ready to start a flying lap. Let's ride on board with Alan Terzic as he enters the final sector. As Waveframe, are they out together? No, I do believe Sasha Glatter has just started the lap, but where is the other Waveframe car? Could they be doing another one of their slipstreams? And it does look like they are. I do believe that is the number 666 Waveframe car just ahead of the number 15. So they could be doing another tow into the bus stop chicane. Let's see how this one turns out. Will they crash into each other like before and ruin the lap? I do want to keep an eye out for Sasha Glatter's first sector. Will it be green again? Will it be purple? As Adam Taylor sets the first sector. I believe that is just off of what Alan Terzic just said, but however, the middle sector is where they gain all the time. And here we go. This is another Waveframe slipstream coming into Blanchimont. This one's not quite as good for the BMW, but he is green in his sector 2. Could we see a jump up position? Once again, just 4 thousandths of a second could move him up a position, and 6 thousandths could move him up 2 positions. So any sort of improvement surely means getting into the top 5 for the number 15 Waveframe. Braking, kissing the apex of the first bit of the chicane, kissing the second on the throttle early. No such thing as oversteer on the exit. So they cross the line now with a 13.086, and it's not an improvement, but it's a purple final sector, and that's it. The number 15 Waveframe's car qualifying is over. Same with Alan Terzic. He has finished his lap now, as we see. Where is Sasha Glatter in all this? They have finished. So it is only the number 666 Waveframe car that can dethrone the number 44 LARP car of their pole position that they've had this whole session. That lap that they set at the start has stayed with them throughout the whole thing. As we now see, that's Zapala and Michael Wilson going purple by a very long way. Let's have a look at in the other LARP car. In the middle sector, though, 2 tenths down. So they lost half a second to their teammates on pole during that middle sector. But the number 404, the second LARP car, currently down in P9. I'm surprised we didn't see any slipstreams from these two, like what we saw from Waveframe. Now coming towards the bus stop, braking a little bit earlier than what we've seen other teams. That is shown by the way that they can just cut and glide over the curves. Their setup is made for the curves, it seems. As they, a little bit of oversteer on exit as they come towards the line of 13.1, and that moves them up to P8 ahead of Germano Zappala. And let's ride on board now with the Wayframe car. Can we see them improve, running over the curves in that middle sector chicane? See, it doesn't seem like anybody else is improving on their times at the moment. And yes, 3 temps down in the middle sector. I do believe the LARP car is going to get pole position in the MATOcolori Spa 24-hour event. They break towards the final chicane. There's no point in backing out. They may as well go for it, just in case. You get a magical run through the final chicane, but I don't think it's going to be it. And that's a 13.3. That's half a second down on their best time. So, Evolution is still on the lap. Green in sector 1, but a tenth and a half off of the LARP car. Could we see them creep higher into the top 10, possibly make the top 5? It's Paulie Ahonen, who's been running around in the P20 mark, makes it up to P11 in the number 42 TCS off. Roy de Munich has, in the 1 move, the only Porsche has decided to stop his lap after being green in the first sector. And it is Leon Bock we need to ride on board with now. Coming towards the final chicane, 2 temps down at the moment on the current best time. However, this will still be an improvement for him. So let's see then, coming as the Unison car, the 717 pushes the Evolution car down to P11. That's a brilliant lap there from Max Buenvich. He's come towards the final chicane, braking, kissing the first apex, using a bit more of the curve, getting on the throttle early, little bit of understeer there as they set a 13.3, so that moves them just ahead of the Unison car again. But I do believe that is everybody now back in the pit lane. And that is the end of our qualifying session. So let's have a look at our starting order then for this race. We have on pole position the number 44 LARP Sim Racing, the number 666 Waveframe in P2, and then we have Sasha Glatter in the 81 Blackhawk, followed by the wait a second, the number 19 Monaco car. We then have the Pescara Edenis ATP, the Waveframe number 15, the 46 Seawolf Net Race, followed by the 404 Turbo Lark Michael Wilson. P9 we have the 938 Pescara. P10 the Evolution car, the number 53, followed by Unison Racing, and then the TCS off Corvette. We then have the number 22 Asombic car, followed by the only Porsche in the race, the number 7 One Move. P15 the 13 Core. And then we've got the number 72 driven by Yaroslav. We then have Ernest Lappin's P18, it seems. Christian Pascal P19. Damien Degrassi P20. Mark Veit in the Fair Racing team P33. Lucas Litchin P22. Vermin Racing P23. The H2O Namaco guys P24. Vermin Racing second car in P25. And then the first of the Speedy Mites, the number 3 in P26, followed by Eidos 27, the number 10 Blue Steel Mika Hikimi 28, Riley McKibben P29, the number 888 Triple 8 car in P30, the second of the Speedy Mites P31, and the second of the TCS off cars P32. We then have the Eidos 777 car in P33, followed by the Sanfray Racing 34, the Omicron Sim in P35, and the Just Racing team P36, with the Sanfray 118 car rounding out the grid. What can I say? That was a brilliant qualifying session. Everybody's so close. As we now see the tower should be working. Let's hope. Did someone just say my voice was very quiet? I can turn that up for you if that is needed. That should be turned up just a little bit now. Any other issues before we get the race underway with the stream at all, just let me know, and I'll make sure to change it as quickly as possible and to get it sorted as quickly as possible. As we see our the number 44 that's right on board now. Our pole position car, the number 44 LARP Sim Racing. This is going to be a very interesting run into the Camel Chicane, up Eau Rouge, because obviously we are going green on the endurance pit lane. So we will see, we'll have a full run to the from the green flag to the chicane, and that is going to be our first overtaking opportunity. Do need to watch out for Eau Rouge, as there may be cars going side by side up through there, so we'll make sure to get a good look of that as we get ready for the race. We have a 15-minute warm-up, just 13 minutes left. And this warm-up will just be the drivers getting used to something like the pit entry, which I'm going to show you now. As we see, we have the double entry, we have the middle line, and then there's service boxes on the left and the right. So this makes enough pit stops for nobody to have to share. And I do believe this is just the LARP Sim Racing guys getting used to this pit lane and figuring out where their pit box is for the race. A small bit of lag there as they go through the pit box. And they come out just behind the core BMW. As we have a look at the P2 car, the Wayframe 666. So, everybody, write in chat, who are your predictions to win this race? Have to say it's very close at the front, and it's just going to be brilliant to see the fight. Just a fight for the lead. It does seem like the top 6, possibly 7 cars are so close, and it's going to be a brilliant race. I have to say, I'm very excited for this one. I will be up for the full 24 hours commentating and live streaming with you. So make sure you stay tuned in, and make sure to subscribe as well, because I do believe we are on 99 subscribers, so one more and that will be 100 subscribers. And we also have 99 viewers in the chat, and that is just amazing to see. I have seen it reach just above 100, so thank you all for tuning in for the start of what is yet to come, really. The first special event hosted by VSRA, and hopefully the first of many, because this is brilliant. All of the work that has been put in to make sure this race is perfect and make sure everything goes smoothly, and we have procedures in place just in case that doesn't quite happen. Obviously, we have had the issue with the overlay in qualifying, however that is a known issue with R-Factor 2, which is a shame. But there are many known issues with R-Factor 2, so it's something we just need to work with, and something we need to deal with as the race goes on. The tower should be working fine with the gaps as we watch the Monaco car. The very bumpy pit entry, may I add. Breakers, yeah, as we see, look, the car's just finding their pit box, their service boxes, so they are ready for the race. We have the Monaco just pulling in there on the right. Yeah, currently leading is Alex Plaver in the... Oh, that's very loud. In the core sim racing team. This is currently only showing the... As yes, we have hit... It does say 99 subs for me. However, I will believe you, Daniel O'Brien, that it should be 100 subs now. And I just would like to thank all of you here for joining in to this stream. 105 viewers at the moment. This is definitely a record for what we've seen in VSRA. After finishing our first season of the European Endurance Series. I do hope you will stick around for what we have to come with the World Endurance Series that we have just recently announced. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to what the future has. Just what the future has to hold for us. 9 minutes left of this warm-up, and the immediate future is the Spa-24 that is underway in under 10 minutes. And we have seen a few incidents have been reported in the chat. So we've had an incident between, let's have a look now. We've had an incident between the 999 Alpestino Force Polonia car, Ernest Lappin's the offender, and the 46 Seawolf Ibrahim Khan. There's a warning for the 999. I'm guessing that would be blocking. There's also an incident between the H2O Namco and the number 10 Blue Steel Racing. No further action on that one. So, like I did see and like I did say, there was it was a very busy track, and I do hope that as we look on this board, this would be probably the view as we see 37 cars tear up towards Eau Rouge on the first lap. And I'm just looking forward to this. We have the 24 Hours of Spa banners around, the VSRA logo just below us, and obviously our proud sponsors, MATOcolori, providing the prize pool for this event. And I just can't wait to hear the roar of the engines as they fly up Eau Rouge towards Radion and then towards the chicane at the end. And that's where we're going to see the fight for the lead between the number 44 LARP team and the 666 Waveframe Esports car. Yes, we have 116 subscribers now, so thank you everyone. We have shot up 17 subscribers in, well, just this stream, and that is brilliant to see. I would just like to thank you all once again for tuning in and subscribing to us. I do hope you stick around, all the new teams that have joined us for this event, either through invites or through advertisements that we have posted. And I do hope you stick around for what we have to come. I have heard a few teams that are looking, that maybe aren't in this event, however, and never raced in VSRA before, looking to join. But yes, this is very loud for me at the moment, the engine noises, and I hope all the audio and the volumes are all perfect for the race. I do want you guys to let me know on that one, give me some feedback, because this whole qualifying section is just about getting ready. I am going to restart the stream now and repost it with the race part 1, so do expect a small delay of the stream as we enter the race section of the stream. Just stick around quickly and the new stream should be up soon.